Let's now turn our attention to World Cities Day, which is observed on October the 31st of every year to highlight the urgency of international cooperation in addressing challenges of urbanization globally. It marks the end of Urban October, which was launched by UN Habitat back in 2014. The global observance is held in a different city each year under a different theme. This year's main event will be hosted in the municipality of Üsküdar in Istanbul, Turkey, focusing on the theme of financing sustainable urban future for all. In a world where cities are growing and expanding rapidly, it becomes essential to promote sustained urban development. Well, we're joined now by Professor Hangwelani Hope Magidimisha-Chipungu, who chairs the Southern African Research Chairs Initiative for Inclusive Cities at the University of KwaZulu-Natal in South Africa. She became the first Black woman in the country to obtain a full professorship in the discipline of town and regional planning, and is an alternate chair of the South African Council for Planners. And she's joining us via Zoom from Durban, South Africa. Thank you so much for being on Africa Live, Professor. Professor, today we're marking the World Cities Day. How important is this day, especially to the African continent?
Thank you very much for having me. It's quite an important day for all of us because it calls for reflection in terms of our relationship with the cities, but also our activities within the cities, because the cities become who we are. So how we relate with our cities has a lot to do with how the future and the projection will look like, whether they will be sustainable or not for our children and the future generation. So this day is very critical, and we all have to take it and treat it as such.
Professor, one of the things that we see, in various parts of the world, but we see it a lot in Africa, is just urbanization, people moving from the rural areas, coming to the urban cities. Just speak to us about one of the things that you believe fuels that trend.
You see, the idea of urbanization is in the African continent is going to grow. So we need to embrace ourselves and get ready for it. As to how we get ready, it's like almost all of us, we know that in the near future, we're going to have a lot of people in urban areas, but very little is being said about how are we going to accommodate those people, what are they going to eat, where they're going to stay, and where they're going to work. And I think this is where the focus needs to be. It needs to be, how do we plan for growing population? We all know that the future of Africa is urban. How do we then plan for this population in a balanced manner, in a way that allows us to grow, but in a sustainable way, without actually depleting our resources? So I think those are the issues that we need to deal with. But of course, when we're planning for that, there are issues around the land resources. Do we have land within urban spaces to accommodate all these people? That is the question we have to ask ourselves. And the issues around the land reform, making sure that people, they actually are permanent holders within urban environment, because people, they can only invest in a place where they actually are owning a piece of land. And the issues around the connectivities in Africa, we need to be able to connect from rural area to urban area easily without any problem. And this is the problem that we have in most African cities. We're not able to commute very well, but not just within a city to city kind of setup, but also within Africa itself, from one country to another. How do I move from one place to another, from one country to another in a seamless way without actually putting a lot of pressures on the travelers and a lot of resources? And those are the issues that we need to look at it if we want to be a global city. And of course, we need to plan in advance. You know, we know that a lot of people are coming within urban areas, but we also need to start saying, okay, where are we going to put roads? Where are we going to put houses? Where the economic activity is going to happen? Because if we let people come within the city without actual planning, people will stay everywhere. And that becomes difficult to correct that at a later stage when you are saying, now we need to have a road here, and people are already residing there. So those are the issues that we need to look at it, to say, we're going to plan in advance. So we need to worry about connectivities, the land reform, and of course the issue of climate change come to question, to say, how do we then plan in a way that is considerate of the climate and everything happening surrounding us?